Hello, it's Dana. Good morning. I do not know where to start on this thing. Okay, so for starters, this was crocheted in pieces and later sewn together. And I will show you how I know this because some of these pieces were literally coming apart. It was very, very fragile. When I picked it up, it started to tear apart in places. This was so dirty that I washed it 3 times and then soaked it all day while we were gone one day because it still smelled like kerosene. I found it on the floor of a garage. This was a tremendous amount of work to make, and I so wanted to save it. It is the most horrible dingy color of gray from age, and I have bleached and OxyCleaned, and it has fallen apart more in the wash. But I am going to salvage what I can from it. At one time, this was a beautiful bedspread, and I'm sure whoever put it together is in heaven right now, glad that I picked it up. So I am going to try my best to cut these little circles apart to use in my journals, on covers, to share with friends. This thing is huge. Now, some of this has to be thrown away. It's just, some of it's no good at all. But if I can get some of these little wheels apart, I think that I may be able to use these each separately. And you can see where they were sewed separately, tied off separately, and then stitched together for longevity, I'm sure. So this is really well constructed, like nothing I have ever seen before. There's a knot. These were apparently double knotted in here, so that I guess so that they could be washed in a tradition. It could be washed in a traditional washer. You can see this is where she tied off. I say she, but this is where she tied off the circle. Now it did have some shrinkage. I put it in low when I finally felt like it had been washed enough times. I put it in the washing machine on low, or I mean in the dryer. I'm sorry. Hi, Rebecca. Good morning. Hi. I put it in the dryer on low, and so yeah, it came out after about 3 cycles because this is very, very thick, and like I said, it's very large. But I really feel like if I can take the joints out of some of these pieces, and I really thought about dyeing it and trying to put the whole thing back together in its entirety, because I'm pretty sure the whole thing is here. At one point, I laid it all out on the ground of my garage while it was still dirty. And like I said, it smelled so severely of kerosene or diesel. Maybe it was diesel fuel. I'm not even sure. That I was kind of worried that I didn't want to put it in the dryer lest it was be combustible. But as you can see, this is just a slip stitch here. It's a straight stitch where it goes in and out to join these 2 pieces together, and those have been tied off separately. And I thought it might indeed just fall apart in the washer, but it didn't. It actually started to pull the existing pieces apart, but none of the original pieces have come unraveled. Everything that's tore has been these little joints. So I'm really impressed with the workmanship. Oh, it's storming there. Where do you live at? We had such loud thunder yesterday. You can never hear thunder inside my work. I work in a big brick building, and you never hear anything. I don't know. I could go outside and the sun could be shining, or it could be just like, tornadoes, and you never know. And we could hear the thunder was so loud yesterday. I was shocked. But those have passed us now. Central Texas. Oh, well, everything's bigger in Texas. I guess the storms are too, huh? Isn't that what they say? I tell you what, I'd love to have some of your heat right now. Is it is it got not I don't think it got below freezing last night. It was actually warmer than normal here, but maybe not for March. But I'll tell you what, look at that. That's amazing to me that that has stood the test of time like that. Now here it does have a few stitches. You can see where it's starting to unravel right here on the edge. But I'm really impressed with this, the workmanship of this thing, and I really can't wait to use some of it on journals. I just don't know how long it's going to take me to actually get the whole thing deconstructed. Maybe, I don't know. I may cut larger pieces off it, and now that I've laundered it so many times, leave it in the living room. Every once in a while I watch TV, not very often. But, because to tell you the truth, I don't think there's too many good things on TV. And we cut the cord a while back. So look at that. I mean, that's literally, it's its own, I can't get that out. It's knotted to that. But it's its own piece. They were crocheted separately, and what a great idea it is. And it broke my heart. You know what? When I saw this, I'm not playing. When I saw this, there was like an old, I don't know. The man was in poor health, and his wife had passed on before him. And I think sometimes there's something about a man living alone that, you know, they just, I think sometimes men don't cherish the same things we do as women. And this might have been one of those things that he thought, that's old. We've had it forever. Maybe he just assumed it was, you know, ready for the Goodwill bag or something. But somehow it ended up on the floor of their mudroom behind a pile of stuff where there had been there was a small dog cage, and in the corner was piled like some old curtain rods and some yard tools, and there was a couple fishing poles stacked back there, and just stuff that hadn't been moved. They had cobwebs on them, and I literally took a broom handle and was just pulling stuff out of the corner that was on the floor back there just to see what was back there, because it was kind of tall. And yeah, look at that. That's amazing. There's no, she knotted those off each time she connected one of those circles. She knotted it off on there. So I don't know if I can get that off or not, but I can't imagine how long this would take to make something like this. I can't even imagine. And when I laid it out, it's as big as, it could cover the top of probably a full-size bed and hang over a foot on each side and the bottom. So really remarkable, and I'm sure very time consuming. I'm sure this took, oh, well, you know what? This is slip stitch too. So that's one piece right here is one piece. But what she did was she evidently made these pieces, made a border with them. Let me see if I can get some of this in screen over here. Let me pull this off over. I'm going to hold it with my body so it's not going everywhere. But let me show you this good corner. This corner is kind of intact where you can see the pattern. So she made these pieces and pieced them together here. And you can see where she made these pieces separate and put about 4 rows on each of them to get her stitch count started. She stitched together here. And it looks like she put probably, yeah, about 4 rows on this piece separately too. And then each one of these little wheels were pieced in. Let me get this. See, this is all, oh, sort of tangled up here in my arms. But each one of these squares that she made, here we go, now you can see it. Each one of these squares was a 5 by 5 of these. So each one of these squares has 25 of these wheels in it. And when I counted these squares, I stopped at 12 because it was all a tangled, dirty mess and it smelled horrible. But there's more than 12 of these. So somebody actually sat and made over 250 of these separately from these pieces. I just can't. And then it goes into the next one over here. So this was the pattern. And as you can see, there is a few places where it has just come unraveled. It's just you pull it and it just keeps unraveling. And I think these pieces I will probably glue the edges or try and tie them off to salvage those two. But boy, this is going to be a labor of love each. Isn't that crazy? That is crazy to me. Is that 3 rows? I don't know that much about crochet. That might be 4 or 5. But I think this is one here. I think this is, I think you make a chain stitch, and then this is the first row, and this is the second row, and this is the third or last row, and then I think that's a double crochet right there is what that is. But I don't know if the camera's picking that up. Is that focusing? I think this is 1, 2, 3, and I think that's a double crochet there. I don't know. I am just now learning about crochet, and I have made one thing. I will get it out. It was last Halloween. It's here with my yarn. Okay, so I made this. Look, he looks cross-eyed. Let me get his eyes right. And I did his arm wrong. So one arm's up and both arms are supposed to be up. But somehow I got this backwards, which is okay, I guess. But that was like my third attempt at this simple ghost. And, or she said, oh, it's so easy. And she showed very close up. Her name is MB Gray Designs, Mary Beth. MB stands for Mary Beth. And she posted this video about how to do easy beginner crochet. Well, it wasn't that easy, and it wasn't that beginner, because trust me, I had a terrible time, and I made 3. The first thing didn't even look like a ghost. It didn't look anything remotely like she made. But I thought, okay, let me do this again and zoom in. And I went to the computer, the desktop, where I could see on the big screen. And I started in the house with very good lighting. And I just went from there and did it again. Well, the second time, it kind of looked like a ghost. Kind of. And I say I say that loosely. But look how well these are stitched on. Look how many times she went back and forth through here. Let me see if that'll focus on this. I don't know if you can see this right here. All these stitches here. That's how many stitches she has in between these little. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that came out. She went around there like you would a button, like really making it secure, So and then tied it off onto the actual little wheel. That's amazing. There. So that came out. So that was a separate stitch. But I may lose patience with this. I think I may even auction some of this off to let people kind of deconstruct themselves or use how they see fit. But I just love that I was able to, even if I couldn't get it a pretty color, I was able to get the stains out of it, and it looked like someone had just walked on it and got mud all over it. And I thought it was coffee because it was such a dark orangey color. I thought somebody had spilt some coffee or motor. It could have been motor oil. It could have been anything really. And I can't believe it. Most of it came out. That thrills me. I think I may coffee dye these, or maybe even I'm thinking they'd be real pretty pink. I've got some avocado dye in there that Thad made me. He's so good. You know what? He came out here. He was talking to me and he said, you know, your avocado went bad. It was my last avocado and I was saving it to eat the next morning. And it was already looking a little south and it had turned like just overnight. It was just like brown all over. And we knew that was pretty, you know. And I said, well, I don't know. I haven't tried it. But I said, I'm going to try it. So let's scoop out the brown, save the, and you know what? I don't even wash off that seed or that peel, either one. I just boil the whole shebang. And it did. It turned that water bright pink. In fact, the overripe avocado, I think, is pinker than the fresh ones when I've ate it and saved the skin and the seed and boiled it immediately. I think the overripe avocado actually is a nicer color. So I'm kind of surprised by that. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend washing anything this old as many times as I washed this, but there is something to be said for the durability of some of these threads and the workmanship and the fact that it just didn't fall to pieces tells me everything I needed to know about that. Okay, on to the next thing, because that I could sit there and do that all day. And so far, I haven't made much progress. So I'm just going to shove it in my basket here. I do have something. I found a new chickie, I want to say, lady, girl, woman. I found a new YouTuber. That's what I'll say. I found a new YouTuber and I started watching her video. And it's cathartic watching her. She has real pretty hands. And as I was watching her do stuff, her voice is really calming. And I literally was just like hypnotized. I think she should probably do those, what do you call them? The I don't know, ARSM. I don't know what, anyway, the videos that people watch for relaxation. But I watched her and I can't remember her name, but I'm going to do a video because she's starting March 1st. She said she posted collect your junk and it put in the description box 3 separate hashtags to use. And so that she could follow everyone that's doing it with her. And she has a lot of followers. I'm really surprised I haven't found her channel before, but she makes all kinds of cool stuff. And so this is one of the things I saved because I really like this guy. I was saving it to get glasses because they always have this 2-for-1. And so a lot of times America's Best is buy one, get one free. And I go get new glasses and matching sunglasses. But this wasn't one of those. So I'm going to just save it for the owl. But I am going to do a video on what I've collected for the junk journal. And I'm going to do some sort of video response to that, because I think I'm going to follow along. I've never done that. I've never joined in one of the challenges or any of that stuff. I'm usually pretty busy and I like to work at my own pace because of my schedule being a little wonky. But I think I'm going to try to follow along this time. She makes it sound super easy. And so that's going to be my next video, is I'm going to go over the stuff I've collected and the name of the YouTuber and the challenge and all that. So that's it. That's it for me. That's all I have to share this morning. I have this big mess over here where I've been making those clusters. Rebecca, do you have an Instagram? I posted all these on, I made these in my last 2 videos, and the more I look at them, the more I like them. But I follow Jessica Rapp. I absolutely love her stuff. And she led me to Care Heart, who did a video on this stuff. And then Gail Augustinelli, I don't know if I'm saying that right, she did a video too. But it was about making these clusters. And what I found was I really had a good time making these. And so I think that I just kind of sat pushed everything aside. I organized it, but I think I'm going to do another video on these because they're really quick to make. And I really love this one. I think I'm going to put this one in Thad's journal. I'm making him a journal. And so I love that one. That might be one of my faves. So, and I think I'm going to put this in my son's journal. So, and that is probably going to go in one of my son's journal. I have all these journals in my head that I'm going to make. So I've been slowly collecting things for them because normally I start a journal and I make things as I go. But now I decided if I start kind of making things ahead of time, things for my recipe journal, things for my sewing journal, things for the boys, things for Thad, things for my garden journal, then when it comes time, maybe I'll have a few things already prepared. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have some junk to put in them right away so I'll feel like I'm ahead of the game when I make those journals, because I have a lot of journals coming up. So thanks for watching. This is Dana, and that's it for me. Have a good day. Bye.